Hey everybody. Hi, my name is Mr. Butcher. I'm your high school art teacher. Those of you who are in high school might have seen me in the hallways, or I might have you in class right now. Those of you who are in middle school, I am hoping to at some point actually get to meet you face to face. So thank you for taking this class, and I hope you enjoy it. So the first assignment that we are going to kind of play around with is an exercise called 359. And when I teach a drawing class, I always start with this one because we do a lot with trying to understand and learn about pencils. We talk about clay and graphite, the things that make it up. And it's just a really easy way to kind of start gaining control. So whether you are brand new at drawing or whether you've been doing it for a long time, just like in sports, going back to the basics and fundamentals are really important. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you, like anything else, if you ever have any questions, please shoot me an email. Otherwise, the goal is for you to kind of keep up in class. So I would encourage you not to skip certain parts of this because they are designed to build from one onto another kind of thing. So I hope you enjoy it and good luck at it. Thank you. Hey everybody, I hope you're excited to get started on our first exercise. We're going to start off with a value scale. It's called a 359. And in this one, it's just mainly designed to try to get you comfortable with the materials that we have that we're working with. Try to get you understand why there are certain pencils for certain things. And kind of just the fundamentals of learning how to draw in terms of how to deal with value. And a value is defined as going from one end of the spectrum to the other end, so from light to darkness. So in this, first off, I have these materials. So we're going to be using our blending stump. Don't forget, we do have the sandpaper that you can go over top of this, and you go back and forth, and it ends up cleaning this. So if you got colored pencil or chalk, or you just want to kind of get this back so it's clean again, just use this and keep going back and forth. And that should last you for quite a while. Also, we have our 3 drawing pencils. You have your ebony pencil right here. Again, this is your HB pencil. It's also the same thing as your number 2 pencil. So it's kind of the middle ground, and your 4B. If I was to put these in order from lightest to darkness, I would have HB, 4B, and ebony. Now there are numbers in between here, like there's like a 5B, 6B, 7B, 8B, 9B, and then ebony is usually the last one. And same thing goes in the opposite of this. There's actually a 3B, 2B, and there's other things called an F, which is a smaller fine point. And then you get into 2H, 3H, 4H, and those are more for like a mechanical drawing. They're lighter lines, a little bit crisper, but typically when you get into drawing, you work in the B range of these. So we have those that we're going to be working with. You should be able to pull the sheet out. I'm not going to fill the whole thing up and show you. I'm just going to kind of do parts of it to kind of keep this video as short as possible. But we're going to start with value scale 3. And what we're going to do is I am going to take my HB pencil or my 4B pencil and start working with it. Now, when you work in drawings, you want to do your best job to make sure that that you always leave or you have a nice mixture of your values. You never want a drawing that's really white, and you don't want anything that's like completely middle gray or something that's really dark. Having a nice balance with everything really does add to a piece being more dramatic. So if you shade everything, you're going to lose your whites. And whites are very, very important. And the opposite is true, is if you stay kind of comfortable and you never go to and really have some really dark areas, that will also lose some of your dramaticness that you want to kind of work on. So I'm going to take a 4B. I am going to kind of hold it overhand like this and then go in so I can kind of go along and use a much wider area on here. You don't have to do this. If you want to flip this over and kind of fill in this area like this, you're welcome to do that. I do that when I'm trying to get these corners. If I know if I'm going to do a larger area right here, I'm going to go in and save my time by going in and just kind of filling those spots in. Do try to stay in the box. You always want to practice your craftsmanship. So this way you color in the lines. And I'm going to kind of fill this whole space in. Once that's all filled in, and notice I do turn the paper quite a bit because it does make it a lot easier to shade it. Same thing goes with drawing. You want to be able to move your paper around. You don't want to be locked in place with just one angle, because your wrist has a natural bend to it, and you want to make sure that you use that to your advantage. I'm going to switch over to using my blending stump. With the blending stump, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go over top of it like this, and it just smooths everything out real nicely. And it gets rid of all those kind of scratches that might be in place. And if you go outside the line there a little bit, you can go in and kind of touch those spots up as well. Once you're done with that, I'm going to switch over to my my ebony pencil, and I'm going to hit my darkest. And I'm going to fill this whole thing in as well. And the same thing that you'll be doing is that once this whole thing gets filled in, you're going to go back in with your blending stump and trying to smooth all that out. Okay, switch it over. Take my blending stump, get all those lines in there. I am giving it some decent amount of pressure as I'm going across with it, and then I flip this back. So now as I look at this, what my goal is, and this applies for all of them, is to go from kind of even steps. So if I look at this, I can feel like, this is 30% of that, 30% of that, and then kind of keep going with it. Now if I look at that and I feel like I'm a little dark on that light gray or that middle gray one, is I'm going to kind of darken this up just a tad bit more, but I don't think I can get any darker than that. Is I would go over this and I would just start taking some of these grays out and trying to fix that up a little bit. Go back over top of it with this. And I want to kind of keep going back and forth with it by adding more. Just going to add a little more graphite in here with my ebony pencil, just so I can go back in with this until I feel like I have that. And that feels like it's a little bit better on like a more of a middle gray. So you're going to do the same thing down here. These, as you can imagine, get a little bit harder each time you work with them. Always leave the white alone. And then you have a light gray, your middle gray, a darker gray, and then as dark as you can go with it. When I start working with these larger ones, I will hit darkest and get those on right away. I'll hit the middle gray, and then I'll go in and start attacking trying to find those steps. Now you do have a couple things you can draw with. So obviously you have your pencils. But something that people don't consider all the time is that your blending stump is also something that you can get values with. Because as I look at this one, I could use an HB pencil, or I could use a 4B pencil to try to get that. Otherwise, your blending stump is actually a really good way of making marks. Is I can go in here, I can pick up that graphite, and then I can just easily just go inside of here and lay that down. What's really nice about coloring in an area with a blending stump is you don't have as much of a likelihood of scratching your paper when you're trying to do a really light area. And this gives you kind of nice soft tones. And again, you can use your eraser to try to pick and try to clean up those edges a little bit more that are on there. Okay, so don't forget to use this. It's a really great tool to use. Go down to the value scale of number 9, try to apply the same thing. This is 9 steps, much more difficult. Then we get to the smooth gradient value scale. So you go from white to black. You have no squares that are going across here, so it's not going to be like pixelated. This is much more realistic and it applies a lot more to stuff that you will be naturally doing in on your projects after today. So this is kind of a test, and then you apply that onto this part over here, which is taking something that's two-dimensional like a circle and shading it till it becomes a form, so it's three-dimensional. So a circle to a sphere, and then you can kind of work along these as well. Do your best job to really even make this look better than what make these look better than what these are, because these should have a little bit more of a white in it. And also don't forget about the shadows that are in here and this secondary reflection that's on there. It helps separate your shape from the shadow that's there. So get all these done. Once you're done with them, and you could even take a picture of these even close up and email them to me. But I want you, when you're all done with it, put them on the discussion board that's there so we can all look at that and then just see how well you did with it. So if you have any questions, you can always email me. But this is your first exercise. You do need to get this done before you get into the other exercises that we're going to be working on throughout the course of this week. And then next week we'll do your first project that'll be that I'm going to kind of tell you what to do. I mean, you have a lot of flexibility in it, but it'll really definitely apply some of the stuff that you are learning with this onto that. So, but yeah, definitely get a hold of me if you have any questions. So thank you for your time.